crowd hyped for the Bruins' first game?
Oh, my word.
Little Creed?
I think Nick is trying.
Creed.
Is it? Sounds just like him.
No,
Yeah.
it's Fall Out Boy.
Oh.
It is. It does sound like
exactly
Creed.
the same, doesn't it?
Yeah, it does.
Sounds like the intro to With Arms Wide Open.
It did. You're right. I thought
I think
we
somebody
got
has
Creed
a lawsuit on their hands.
Oh boy, it's like
No, that's Sum 41 in Nickelback.
it's like what was it? Huey Lewis and Ray Parker Jr. I think it was were embroiled over the Ghostbusters theme in the mid '80s or something like that.
Fall Out Boy is like one of the official bands of the NHL. They just
Really?
pop up at anything. So.
And Scott McLaughlin is the head of the hockey department here at
Whoa.
WEEI.com, so he would know all about the hockey music because tonight the Bruins open the regular season. So what are the, I guess if you were to say a couple of like choice bands that hockey players would approve? Are they all from Canada?
Oh God. I think if you went back a couple generations, yeah, you get like a lot of Tragically Hip, but I think the new generation is much more country. Like you just get a ton of country acts from today's players.
Yeah,
I
like
think.
what is country now anyway? It all blends together.
It's pop with boots.
Yeah, it's not twangy or anything like
They
that.
still
Like, there
wear
was-
belt buckles.
There was a group at the Garden a couple weeks ago that I didn't know, but people probably do. Old Dominion that like sells at the Garden, and there were like 10 Bruins there, and I was like,
Really?
had never heard of them before.
What's that Nashville country
Yeah.
scene? The
Yeah.
old boys know that group.
There used to be that songwriting show on NBC where they would like bring people in and then it would be like you would work with someone who writes a song and then you would record it and stuff. I thought one of those guys was from that Old Dominion group. I don't know.
No idea.
Old
Could not
Dominion
tell.
is a university
Yeah.
that another.
my daughter's going
I'm
to.
just going to say the 11th Fourier kid will be going to a school for free this time at Old Dominion. But we brought you in to talk hockey, McLaughlin, because well, it is time, and Fourier and I are going to get into this in the 1 o'clock hour, right? The Red Sox are looking to spend and win again. We know the Celtics are in championship mode. The Patriots are in a time of dysfunction, let's say. Where are the Bruins right now, given they shot high last year, it flamed out? Where are we at in terms of the Bruins winning organizationally? How do you see it?
It's certainly a transition year out of necessity, out of going all in last year, having no cap space, having to allow multiple players to walk in free agency. Obviously, the retirements of Bergeron and Krejci. They didn't have the cap space to go all in again to like address those holes. So you have to there has to be some level of resetting, and that's what they're going to do this year. But they expect to still be competitive. They fully expect to still be a playoff team. I expect them to still be a playoff team because I think you look around the conference and there's a lot of teams, a lot of the usual playoff teams are in the same situation because the NHL has basically had a flat cap since COVID, and that is killing these teams' depth because they can't keep everyone. Usually, the cap goes up $3-4 million a year, and so you can keep some of your depth intact, keep adding. You don't lose as much because you get a little more money every year. When it's been flat, last year it only went up $1 million, or this past summer it went up $1 million. Like, you can't do it. So it's creating a lot more parity around the league. So, yeah, the Bruins got hit, and now they have a ton of questions, but so do an awful lot of other teams.
So, when you look at this team, I think naturally most people would say, wow, last year was an unbelievable regular season, record-breaking regular season, major buzzkill once the playoffs started. And I think most people would say, well, they've peaked, time to rebuild. I have a sense that like you don't feel that way. They're still a competitive team. Teams should still be nervous about them, but maybe not so much importance on the regular season anymore.
Yeah, I think the goal in the regular season is just make the playoffs. And if you really want to get a little greedy, it's finish top 3 in the division because you don't want to be a wild card team. You don't want to have it go right down to the wire. But, yeah, you look at their team. They still have what should be the best goaltending tandem in the NHL. Ullmark and Swayman are both back. They still have one of the best defenses led by McAvoy, Hampus Lindholm, Brandon Carlo, Grzelcyk. Forwards back in your third pair. Kevin Shattenkirk's a veteran with cup experience that they brought in. Their top prospect, Mason Lohrei, could be ready to contribute sooner than later. He he almost made the team out of camp. He was there right until the last second when they had to make their roster cut downs. So that's a strength that not a lot of teams have, especially in their division. There's some teams that have really good offenses and are very thin on the back end or have huge question marks and goals. So they're going to try to win that way. That means it's not going to be as many high-scoring games as last year. They're probably going to have to win more 2-1, 3-2 games, but they're going to bank on that goaltending and defense to be the rock that keeps them competitive every night and still leads to, what should be enough wins to make the playoffs.
Our head of the hockey department at WEEI.com, Scott McLaughlin, is with us. He's actually editor at WEEI.com, but it's kind of cooler to say you're the head of the hockey department. Sounds like you really oversee more than just Bridget and stuff like that. I got Johnny Beecher. I see Morgan Geeky. I see Ian Mitchell. I see young names from guys that I've heard about but maybe haven't really followed. Which young Bruin or Bruins are you most excited to see this year? Who's ready?
Matt Poitras is the most exciting. He's
19. You didn't mention his name.
Yeah.
Because I didn't know how to pronounce it.
There you go. Yeah. Matt Poitras.
Poitras.
Yes.
Oh boy, you're gonna have to get the.
I can say it.
You're gonna have to get the pronunciation guide, the
Here's
landman
the key.
in there. Billy, Hockey Billy is the best Billy going.
I was trying to do Poitras.
Yeah, me too.
Poitras.
Here it is.
That's
Poitras.
right.
Easy.
Don't look at the way his name is spelt. It's Poitras.
Yeah.
Poitras.
Did you just have a moment over there? Anyway,
You said to say it slowly. Go ahead.
so why is this guy the pick to click?
Because he was the story of camp and really impressed. He's only 19 years old. He was their second-round pick in 2022. It's no guarantee he's going to be here all year. They basically have a 9-game tryout for him right now. After 9 games, they'll have to decide to either keep him, which will start the first year of his entry-level contract, or send him back to his junior team. He can't play in the AHL. He's too young. So
Which is just amazing to me. What a stupid rule.
it's a silly rule for
It
sure.
really is.
Yeah. But, yeah, he kind of took training camp and preseason by storm, and at a time when the Bruins obviously need some young centers to start popping up and pushing through. And here he comes, and he looks incredibly poised for his age. Great with the puck on his stick, great vision, patience, passing, all of that. You don't want to put this comparison on him right off the bat, but there's elements of David Krejci there in the way that he slows the game down, sees the ice, sets up his teammates. So he's on the opening night roster. He's going to start on the third line between Trent Frederick and Morgan Geeky.
You think they keep him?
I lean towards yes. I think he's going to do pretty well during this tryout and just keep pushing and force their hand. There's obviously stuff he has to work on. Defensively, it's a new system. You're going up against NHL players. There's going to be some growing pains there. He does have to shoot more. That was something coming out of juniors that was on his scouting report. In the preseason, he only took 4 shots on goal in 5 games. Now he happened to score in 3 of them. So if you can shoot 75%, then you'll be okay.
All right, that helps.
But but he'll have to use his shot a little bit more because he's going to have to force defenses to respect that. Otherwise, they'll back off him and take away his passing options, which is what he really wants to do. He wants to set up his teammates.
So it's, what is it? Zacha, Coyle, Patra.
Mm-hmm.
That's your top 3. Any fear about not having those 2 vets there? What's the drop off, or is there any?
There certainly is. Especially Bergeron. You're just not replacing him. He was still one of the best centers in the game last year, especially defensively, obviously winning his 6th Selke trophy. There's a drop off there. Pavel Zacha had a really strong season last year. Did it mostly on the wing, but did kind of get a trial run at center late in the season when Krejci missed some time, and then Krejci and Bergeron obviously both missed a couple games in the playoffs. And he played well at center, and him and Pastrnak have some chemistry, and that's where he's going to start. So I think expectations for Zacha are pretty high. Can he be a true number 1 franchise center on a future Cup team? He's not that right now, but let's see. Let him get a full season at center before kind of making that judgment. Charlie Coyle, obviously he's been a really solid number 3 center for a long time. 2 years ago when Krejci went abroad, he started the season as the number 2 center and ultimately didn't really last there. He didn't have great chemistry with Taylor Hall at that time, and it wound up being Eric Hall that got moved up to that number 2 center role. Coyle last year took on a lot more defensive responsibility than he's had in the past, and at the very least, he can do that with Marchand and DeBrus. That can be a really defensively responsible line that handles a lot of tough matchups, but they're also going to need it to score. So you need Charlie Coyle to bring more offense to the table. You need him to shoot more. You need him setting up Marchand and DeBrus for their chances. So those are fair questions for him. That is something new. And if Patra keeps pushing, maybe at some point he's your number 2 center. That's a lot to ask of a 19-year-old kid right off the bat, but it could be in play with, based on what we've seen from him.
Yeah, it kind of feels like the door's open for anything in so many ways with this Bruins team. Our guy Scott McLaughlin at WEEI.com is with us. Do Van Riemsdyk, Shattenkirk, do these olds have anything left?
Yeah, I think they have something left. How much remains to be seen.
And how long can they go during the season?
Yeah.
I worry about the injury rate with those guys.
I think Shattenkirk and the role they're asking of him will be fine. He's third pairing, right side. They're not, that's the same role he had in Tampa a few years ago when they won the Cup. In Anaheim, he had to play top 4 minutes because they were a really young, rebuilding team. That was probably a little too much to be asking from him at this point in his career, but third pairing, he should be fine. I think he can probably be a better fit than Connor Clifton there. He's obviously not as physical, but puck moving, getting something going offensively. I think especially if Derek Forbert's there, you need that. So I think he'll be fine. Van Riemsdyk is super interesting because he's starting on a line with Pasternak and Zacha.
Yeah,
so it's like
you're putting him with some players and expecting him to give him, 20 minutes a night?
Yeah, you can't ask for a better spot to fall into, especially after a really down season for him. Van Riemsdyk had 24 goals 2 years ago. Last year, cut in half, 12. Lowest he's had since, I think, his second season in the NHL. So you're expecting a huge bounce back from him. And if it can't happen with those players, then at some point he'll have to move down the lineup and you'll have to try to find something else.
And then finally, are you surprised both goalies are still here?
Not really. I think they probably did explore the market just to see, if there was a trade that might have made sense. But there were very few goalies that moved this offseason. Winnipeg had Connor Hellebuck on the market. Seemingly all summer, he never got traded because they couldn't find the right offer, and now he just signed an extension there. So,
too many real bucks for Hellebuck. Hi-oh.
Yeah. So
come on, Foyer. You give me nothing on that?
I was supposed to write my question down.
Oh, okay.
My last question down because I know we're up against
sorry.
it. And real quickly, Pasternak, you just mentioned his name, and it got me thinking about how long he's been in the league, and I didn't realize it's 10 years.
This is his 10th season.
Does that seem like it's longer than you? It's 10 freaking years. I'm curious where he feels like he sits in the pecking order of leadership. With obviously Marchand being the captain.
I think he's second or third, and he's embracing that. Obviously Marchand's the captain. It seems like McAvoy might be slightly ahead of him and sort of on track to be that next C whenever Marchand leaves. But they are expecting Pasternak to take on more leadership. He has already, and I think he's embracing it.
What does that look like? What is that? Just, hey, look at me. Funny jokes.
No.
Honestly, God, it doesn't seem like a real demanding guy. He's more, leadership is more in humor and self-deprecating maybe.
I mean, I think there is some.
What's up, guys?
I think that there is certainly an element of him being a guy who can help keep it light at times. Marchand played that role before. He now has a C, and he's probably going to have to be a little more serious. But also for Pasternak, it's leading through example. He has to be one of the hardest workers because everyone knows he's the most talented player. If your most talented player is also one of your hardest workers, that sets a great tone for the team. So that's the expectation is, he doesn't have to change his personality or try to be give some great speeches that he's not used to giving. he needs to show up and be one of the hardest workers every day and set the example for everyone else to follow.
To whom much is given, much is expected, and that is David Pastrnak this year. Same for our guy Scott McLaughlin, just leading a group of people upstairs that are, some of them are hiding under desks because they're
hear he's
anxiety.
coming.
It's anxiety
there
like
he
Courtney,
comes.
you know what I mean?
Yep.
And all these people writing all that. He's got to keep Terp in line. Good Lord. Good luck with that during Celtics season.
Terp all over Celtics.
Terp is like a
stepping up.
puppy with two Peters with these Celtics. He can't help himself, for crying out loud. Thank you, Scott. We appreciate you. I know
Thank you
we'll
for
catch you
having
in
me.
sooner than later.